Do not read this story if you have a sensitive heart. Elizabeth Carter felt her heart race when she saw her daughter Emily heading straight for the corner of the hall where the boy in the wheelchair was. The child had completely ignored all the distinguished guests at the business party and walked determinedly toward the boy that no one seemed to notice. The housekeeper, Sarah Johnson, tried discreetly to get her son Nathan's attention, but he was focused on observing the golden chandeliers on the ceiling. When Emily approached and extended her hand to him, Nathan was startled, but soon broke into a timid smile. "Hi, I'm Emily," said the 7-year-old girl, ignoring the surprised looks from the adults around her. "Do you want to play with me?" Nathan gestured timidly, pointing at himself and then at her. His light eyes shone when he realized the girl showed no unease about his condition. Michael Carter, Emily's father and host of the party, watched the scene with growing discomfort. This was an important meeting with international investors, and the presence of a special needs child was not part of the plan. He discreetly signaled to his wife, indicating she should intervene. "Emily, come here, sweetheart," called Elizabeth, approaching the children. "Let the boy rest." "But Mom, he wants to play with me," protested Emily, firmly holding Nathan's hand. "He told me with his eyes." Sarah approached, embarrassed, stammering apologies. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Elizabeth. Nathan, let's go from here." "No," shouted Emily, surprising everyone with her vehemence. "He's my friend now." Dr. William Anderson, the main investor of the evening, looked at the situation with annoyance. He whispered something in Michael's ear, who visibly paled. The company's reputation depended on that meeting, and any embarrassment could jeopardize the multi-million-dollar deal. Nathan, sensing the tension, began to gesture frantically to his mother, indicating he wanted to stay. His desperate gestures touched Elizabeth's heart, who painfully remembered her brother Christopher, who had passed away at 10 after battling a rare disease that affected his development. "Sarah, let them play a little," said Elizabeth, surprising her husband. "They're just children." Michael approached his wife with a tense face. "Elizabeth, we need to talk. Now." While the parents stepped away to discuss, Emily began showing Nathan the paintings on the walls, describing every detail with enthusiasm. The boy followed everything attentively, communicating through facial expressions and elaborate gestures. "You understand everything I say, don't you?" asked Emily, perceiving the lively intelligence in Nathan's eyes. Nathan nodded vigorously, then pointed to his own throat and shook his head negatively. "You can't speak?" Emily questioned naturally. "That's okay. My grandpa couldn't either at the end, but we understood each other just the same." The child's simplicity in accepting differences contrasted drastically with the adult's discomfort. Mrs. Margaret Anderson, the investor's wife, watched the scene with poorly disguised disdain. "It's inappropriate to allow this situation to continue," she murmured to her friend Jennifer Thompson. "Children like that should be in specialized institutions, not at social parties." Sarah heard the malicious comments and felt tears burning her eyes. She had lied about Nathan's condition when she got the job, fearing exactly that reaction. As a single mother, she desperately needed the work to support her son. In the adjoining room, Michael gestured angrily while talking to Elizabeth. "Don't you understand the situation? Dr. Anderson has already asked me twice about that child. Our contract could go down the drain because of this." "Michael, he's just a boy," Elizabeth tried to argue, but felt a tightness in her chest. "And our daughter is happy." "Our daughter needs to learn how to behave in society," Michael replied. "And you need to understand that our company employs 300 families. We can't jeopardize everything over sentimentality. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out." Now continuing. While the parents argued, Emily had taken Nathan to see her room upstairs. The boy watched in wonder at the colorful decorations and the toys scattered on the bed. "Do you have toys at home?" asked Emily, sitting on the floor next to the wheelchair. Nathan shook his head no, looking sadly at his own hands. He gestured to indicate he lived in a small place. "Then you can play with mine whenever you want," Emily declared generously. "We're going to be friends forever." Nathan smiled widely, and to the surprise of both managed to let out a hoarse sound that sounded like friend. It was the first word he had tried to pronounce in months. Emily jumped for joy. "You can talk. I knew it. You just need to practice more." Sarah, who had come up to get her son, heard the sound from the bedroom door and stopped to listen. When she realized Nathan had tried to speak, her eyes filled with tears of hope. It had been so long since she had seen any progress in the boy's development. Downstairs the party continued, but the tension was palpable. Dr. Anderson had commented to other guests about the Carter family's inappropriate social standards, planting seeds of doubt about the seriousness of their business. Michael was coming up the stairs with heavy steps, determined to put an end to that situation. He found the bedroom door ajar and heard the children's voices inside. "Nathan, can you draw?" Emily was asking. The boy gestured yes and, with difficulty, held a crayon to make scribbles on the paper. He drew 2 figures holding hands, one in a wheelchair and one standing. "It's the 2 of us!" exclaimed Emily. "I'm going to keep this drawing forever." Michael watched the scene for a few moments, feeling something stir in his chest. The purity of the interaction between the children contrasted with the cynicism of the adults downstairs. For a moment, he remembered when Emily was younger, and he still had time to play with her. "Emily, I need to speak with you," said Michael, entering the room. "Dad, look what Nathan drew." Emily ran to him, showing the paper. "He's very smart." Michael looked at Nathan, who watched him with a mixture of fear and hope. "Nathan, you understand when people talk to you?" Nathan nodded energetically, then pointed to his head, indicating he understood everything. "It's just his speech that doesn't work right," Emily explained. "But he thinks normally, just like us." His daughter's naive observation hit Michael like a slap to his conscience. He crouched down to be at Nathan's level and asked, "Do you love your mum?" Nathan smiled and gestured with such enthusiasm he almost knocked over the chair. He pointed to his heart several times, making the size of his filial love clear. Sarah appeared at the door, nervous. "Mr. Michael, I'm sorry for the trouble. I'll take Nathan right now." "No!" protested both children in unison, Nathan through desperate gestures. Michael watched the reaction and realized something he had ignored. Those children had formed a genuine connection in a matter of minutes. "Sarah, can we talk in my study after the party?" The serious tone left the governess terrified. She knew that conversation would result in her dismissal. "Of course, sir. Nathan, come now." "Wait, Dad." Emily held Michael's arm. "Can Nathan sleep over here tonight? I promise I'll behave at the party." "Emily, that's not possible," Michael began, but was interrupted by Elizabeth, who appeared at the door. "Michael, Dr. Anderson is asking for you." Elizabeth looked at the children and then at her husband. "And our daughter needs to come down now." "Mum, can I bring Nathan to play here tomorrow?" asked Emily, ignoring the tension between the adults. Elizabeth looked at Sarah, who was visibly distressed. "We'll see, dear. Now let's go downstairs." Emily said goodbye to Nathan with a warm hug. "Tomorrow you'll teach me more signs, okay?" Nathan nodded, but his eyes showed sadness, as if he sensed that this might be the last time they played together. For the rest of the party, Emily behaved impeccably, but she constantly asked about Nathan. Each question made Michael more uncomfortable, especially when other guests overheard. Mrs. Barbara Mitchell, owner of a competing company, seized the opportunity to make venomous remarks. "It's admirable how some people are charitable," she said sarcastically. Of course, this could affect the corporate image. Michael felt pressure from all sides. Dr. Anderson had postponed signing the contract, citing the need to re-evaluate some aspects of the partnership. Elizabeth tried to maintain her composure, but was visibly shaken. Sarah worked silently, serving the guests and trying to keep Nathan away from curious eyes. The boy, however, kept looking toward the stairs, hoping Emily would return. When the party finally ended and the last guests had left, Michael called Sarah into the office. Elizabeth stayed with Emily, who insisted on knowing when Nathan would be back. "Sarah, we need to talk about your situation here," Michael began, sitting behind the desk. "I know I'm going to be fired," Sarah said, trying to hold back tears. "I should have told you about Nathan from the beginning." "Why didn't you?" Michael asked, more curious than angry. "Because I need to work," Sarah answered honestly. I'm a single mother. His father never helped with anything. Nathan needs special care that costs money. Without this job, I don't know what to do." Michael noted the sincerity in the woman's voice. "Tell me about his condition." Sarah took a deep breath before answering. "Nathan was born premature. He was hospitalized for a long time. The doctors said he might have developmental delays. Speech was the most affected, but mentally he's fine. He's even smarter than many kids his age." "And the father?" Michael asked. "Brandon couldn't handle the pressure," Sarah explained bitterly. "When Nathan turned 2 and still wasn't speaking properly, he said he didn't want to raise a disabled child. He disappeared and never gave any news." The story touched Michael in an unexpected way. He thought about how devastating it would be for Elizabeth if Emily went through something similar. "Sarah, do you have family who can help?" "My mother lives in Phoenix, but she's elderly and doesn't have the means," Sarah replied. "Nathan and I only have each other." Michael was silent for a few minutes, processing the information. "What if I don't fire you? What would you propose to handle this situation?" Sarah looked surprised. "Sir, Nathan's presence here caused problems today," Michael was direct. "But my daughter has become attached to him. I need a solution that works for everyone." "I can arrange care for him during my work hours," Sarah offered desperately. "I know a lady who cares for special needs children for a price I can afford." Michael pondered. What if the solution were different? Before Sarah could answer, Elizabeth appeared at the door with Emily, who was in her pajamas but wide awake. "Dad, did you fire Sarah?" Emily asked directly. "Because if you quit, I'm going to run away from home." "Emily," Elizabeth scolded, but there was admiration in her voice. "I'm serious, Dad," Emily continued with determination. "Nathan is my friend and friends help each other. You taught me that yourself." Michael looked at his daughter and realized he had underestimated her emotional maturity. "And what do you suggest I do?" "Let him come here every day to play with me," Emily answered as if it were obvious. "That way Sarah can work and he won't be alone." Elizabeth was surprised by her daughter's practical solution. "Michael, maybe we can think of something." "What if he disrupts business again?" Michael asked, more to test reactions than out of real opposition. "Then the business is bad," Emily declared with devastating childlike logic. "Good people don't care if someone is different." Sarah was speechless, listening to a 7-year-old defend her so vehemently. "Emily, you are very kind, but—" "Sarah," Michael interrupted her, "tomorrow I want to talk to you about modifying your work contract. Perhaps we can find a solution that benefits everyone." Dear listener, if you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we are just starting out. Now, continuing. The next morning, Emily woke up early and ran to meet Nathan. Sarah had brought some activities to keep her son occupied while she worked, but found the 2 children already inventing games in the garden. "Emily taught me how to make a paper airplane," Sarah told Elizabeth. Nathan had never been able to fold the paper right, but with her patience, Elizabeth watched the children from the kitchen window. Nathan had managed to make an airplane that flew straight, and his proud expression was touching. "Sarah, can I ask you a personal question?" "Of course, Mrs. Elizabeth." "Have you ever thought about seeking specialized treatment for Nathan's speech?" Sarah sighed. "I think about it every day. But private therapists are very expensive, and the public system has a 2-year waiting list." "I understand," Elizabeth murmured, an idea beginning to form in her mind. At that moment, Michael came down for breakfast and found a paper on the table. It was a drawing Nathan had made for him, showing the Carter family and the 2 of them as a bigger family. At the bottom, Emily had written, "Thank you for not sending my friend away." "Elizabeth, we need to talk," Michael said, carefully putting the drawing away. They went into the office while the children continued playing. "Michael, I have a proposal," Elizabeth began. "What if we sponsored Nathan's speech treatment?" Michael raised his eyebrows. "How so?" "Think about it. Our company has a social responsibility department that has always supported educational causes," Elizabeth explained. "Nathan could be our first individual inclusion project." "Elizabeth, after what happened yesterday—" "Exactly because of what happened yesterday," Elizabeth interrupted him. "Our daughter showed us something we had lost, true compassion. What if we turn that into something positive for the company? Michael reflected on the proposal. Go on. Imagine the positive impact. A company that invests in the development of special needs children. Elizabeth got excited. Instead of hiding the situation, we make it our strength. And if it fails? Then at least we will have done the right thing, Elizabeth answered. And our daughter will have learned that her parents fight for the people they love. Michael fell silent, watching the children through the window. Nathan was trying to teach Emily some of the gestures he used to communicate, and she was learning enthusiastically. The scene had something deeply touching about it. All right, Michael decided. But let's do this the right way. I want Sarah to be honest about everything. I want medical reports, and I want Nathan to undergo a complete evaluation. Elizabeth smiled. I'm sure we won't regret this. When the decision was communicated to Sarah, the woman broke down in tears of gratitude. Nathan, sensing something good had happened from his mother's reaction, gestured asking what was wrong. Nathan, you are going to have therapy to learn to speak better, Sarah explained, using the gestures he understood. The boy's face lit up and he looked at Emily, who jumped for joy. You're going to be able to say my whole name, she exclaimed. Nathan nodded vigorously and tried to pronounce Emily, managing only M. But the effort was met with enthusiasm by everyone. The following Monday, Nathan underwent an evaluation with Dr. Jennifer Parker, one of the best speech therapists in New York. The diagnosis was optimistic. With intensive therapy, Nathan could develop his speech significantly. He has above-average intelligence, Dr. Jennifer explained to Sarah and Elizabeth. The problem is purely motor. With the right exercises, he can achieve 80% of normal communication capacity. The therapy sessions began 3 times a week, and Emily made a point of accompanying him to some of them. She became Nathan's biggest cheerleader, celebrating every small progress as if it were a great victory. 2 weeks after the treatment began, Michael received an unexpected call from Dr. Anderson. Carter, I heard your company is sponsoring the treatment of a special needs child. Michael swallowed hard, fearing the worst. Yes, that's true. Interesting, Dr. Anderson continued. My granddaughter has Down syndrome, and I'm always looking for companies that demonstrate genuine social responsibility. Can we reschedule our meeting? Michael could hardly believe what he was hearing. The decision that seemed to have ruined the business had actually improved it. Of course, Dr. Anderson, it would be a pleasure. After hanging up, Michael went to find Emily, who was in the garden teaching Nathan to play with a ball adapted so he could participate in the game. Emily, you saved me, Michael said, sitting down next to his daughter. How so, Dad? You reminded me of who I really want to be, Michael explained. Thank you for not giving up on your friend. Nathan, hearing the conversation, approached Michael and with great effort managed to pronounce that thank you. They were just trembling syllables, but the word was clearly formed. Everyone was moved, and Michael felt tears in his eyes for the first time in years. However, the happiness would be tested when unexpected events began to unfold. One morning, Sarah arrived at work, visibly upset. What happened? Elizabeth asked, noticing the employee's state. Brandon showed up last night, Sarah said with a trembling voice. He wants to see Nathan. Michael, who was having coffee, stopped chewing. The biological father? Ex-husband, Sarah corrected. He abandoned Nathan when he found out about the developmental problems. Now suddenly he wants to get to know his son better. And what did you say? Elizabeth asked. That he lost that right when he abandoned us, Sarah replied. But he mentioned getting a lawyer. Michael exchanged a worried look with Elizabeth. Sarah, do you have documents that prove the abandonment? I have some old messages where he said he didn't want to raise a disabled child. Sarah showed her phone. But I don't know if that's enough. At that moment, Nathan entered the kitchen looking for Emily, who was still getting ready for school. When he saw his mother's sad face, he approached and hugged her tightly. Nathan loves Mom, he said with effort, using the words he had learned in therapy. Sarah hugged her son, trying to hide her tears. Mommy loves you very much too, my angel. Michael observed the interaction and felt an instinctive protectiveness toward them both. Sarah, if you need legal support, the company can help. I can't accept that, Sarah protested. "You already do so much for us." "Yes, you can." Emily appeared in the kitchen, already ready for school. "Nathan is part of our family now, and family helps each other." The child's simplicity once again touched the adults. Michael made a decision. "Sarah, I'll speak with our legal department. We'll prepare for any eventuality." At school, Emily told teacher Rebecca about Nathan's situation. The educator, who had already observed the special friendship between the children, offered to help. "Emily, if Nathan needs witnesses to how happy and well cared for he is, I can help," offered the teacher. "I see how you communicate, and it's beautiful." "Thank you, Miss Rebecca," Emily smiled. "Nathan is very smart. He just can't speak properly yet." Meanwhile, at the Carter Company, Michael was speaking with Dr. David Harrison, the company lawyer. "The situation is delicate, Michael. The biological father always has rights, even in cases of abandonment." "But he abandoned him voluntarily," Michael argued. "Yes, but if he claims he's changed and wants a chance, the judge might consider it," Dr. David explained. "We need to document everything. The abandonment, the child's current progress, the quality of life with his mother. What do you suggest?" "Let's put together a complete dossier. Testimonies, medical reports, proof of abandonment," Dr. David listed. "And most importantly, show that changing the current situation would harm the child's development." Michael nodded, determined. "Do whatever is necessary." The following Tuesday, Brandon Williams appeared at the door of the Carter home. Sarah was working when the doorbell rang, and Elizabeth went to answer it. "Good afternoon, I'm looking for Sarah Johnson," said the man, around 35 years old, dressed casually but with an unkempt appearance. "She's working," Elizabeth replied, instinctively suspicious. "May I ask who's looking for her?" "I'm Brandon, Nathan's father. I've come to get my son." Elizabeth felt a chill in her stomach. "Wait a moment." She went to call Sarah, who paled upon hearing that Brandon was at the door. "He can't just take Nathan like that," Sarah said, trembling. "He won't take him," Elizabeth assured. "Michael is on his way. I already called him." In the garden, Nathan and Emily were playing with puzzles when they heard raised voices coming from inside the house. Nathan looked worriedly at Emily. "Don't worry, Nathan," Emily said, holding her friend's hand. "My parents will take care of everything." When Michael arrived, he found Brandon arguing with Elizabeth in the living room. "I have a right to see my son," the man was saying. "A right you voluntarily gave up," Michael entered the conversation. "And who exactly are you?" "Michael Carter, pleased to meet you," Michael introduced himself coldly. "The owner of this house where Sarah works and Nathan receives care." "Look, I don't want any trouble," Brandon tried to soften his tone. "I just want to get to know the boy better. I've changed my mind about everything." "Changed your mind?" Sarah appeared in the room, visibly shaken. "After 3 years of being gone?" "People change, Sarah," Brandon argued. "I was young, I wasn't ready. Now I want to be a real father." Michael observed the man carefully. "And what exactly has changed?" "I've had time to think," Brandon replied vaguely. "And I discovered that Nathan is being well taken care of, financially." The last word made his true intentions clear. Michael and Elizabeth exchanged meaningful looks. "Nathan is receiving private medical treatment, isn't he?" Brandon continued. "He must be entitled to some social benefit too." Sarah immediately understood where he was headed. "You want the benefit money?" "I want to exercise my responsible fatherhood," Brandon insisted, but his expression gave him away. Michael took the lead. "Mr. Brandon, I suggest you get a lawyer if you want to settle this legally. Now, I ask that you leave my property." "I'll see my son first." Brandon headed for the garden. "No!" Sarah became desperate. "Nathan doesn't know you. He'll be scared." Michael blocked the path. "You're not seeing anyone. Leave now or I'll call the police." Brandon looked around, realizing he was at a disadvantage. "This isn't over. I have rights." After he left, Sarah collapsed on the sofa, trembling. "He's going to take Nathan. I know he will." "No, he won't." Emily appeared in the room, having heard part of the argument. "Nathan is happy here with us. No one can take him away from his mommy." Elizabeth hugged both Sarah and Emily. "We'll fight for you. Don't worry." Nathan, who had been hiding in the garden during the argument, slowly approached. When he saw his mother crying, he ran to hug her. "Mama sad?" he asked with difficulty. "Mommy is okay, sweetheart," Sarah tried to compose herself. "Everything will be fine." Nathan looked at Michael, who gave a reassuring nod. The boy approached him and, holding his hand, said, "Thank you for taking care of Mama." The moment was touching, and Michael realized he wasn't just fighting for employees, but for people who had become important in his life. Dr. David called the next day with news. "Michael, he got a lawyer and is filing for custody. He claims he has paternal rights and that the mother isn't adequately equipped to raise a special needs child." "What arguments is he using?" Michael asked. "He says Sarah is just a domestic worker without higher education and that he can offer more financial stability," Dr. David explained. "It's a lie, of course, but it could sway an uninformed judge." "And our defense?" "We're already building it. I have the medical reports showing Nathan's progress, statements from the school, and most importantly, we'll use his history of abandonment against him," Dr. David reassured. "But you need to be prepared. It could be a long process." Michael communicated the situation to Elizabeth and Sarah. The housekeeper was inconsolable. "I can't even think about the possibility of losing Nathan." "You won't lose him," Elizabeth assured. "We have resources, contacts, and most importantly, the truth on our side." Emily, who was listening in secret, joined the conversation. "Can I talk to the judge? I'll tell him how happy Nathan is here." Michael smiled sadly. "That's not quite how it works, Princess." "But I'm a witness," Emily insisted. "I see him every day. I know when he's happy and when he's sad." His daughter's determination gave Michael an idea. "Dr. David, can you include statements from people who live with Nathan daily?" "Of course, the more witnesses to his quality of life, the better," the lawyer confirmed. That weekend, the tension was palpable in the house. Nathan sensed something was wrong, even without understanding exactly what. He clung more to his mother and watched the adults with worry. "Emily," he called his friend. "Why Mama cry?" Emily looked at her friend and decided to be honest. "There's a bad man who wants to take you away from your mum, but we won't let him." Nathan's eyes widened, frightened. He gestured frantically, asking who the man was. "He's your biological father," Emily explained, with the typical transparency of children. "But a real father is the one who cares for you, not the one who made you be born." Nathan nodded, understanding. Then he pointed at Michael and made gestures indicating, "Good father." "Yes," Emily agreed. "My dad will take care of you too." The conversation was overheard by Michael, who was moved to realize how Nathan saw him. In that moment, he made a decision that would change everything. On Monday, Michael called Dr. David for a meeting. "I want to adopt Nathan," he announced without preamble. "Michael, that is complex," the lawyer pondered. "For adoption, you first need to terminate the biological father's parental rights." "Then let's do that," Michael decided. "If he wants to go to court, we'll show there's a family that truly cares about Nathan." "And Sarah? How does she fit into this?" "Sarah remains the biological mother and primary caregiver," Michael explained. "But with the adoption, Nathan would have the full legal protection of our family." Dr. David took notes quickly. "It's a risky strategy, but it could work. I'll research the legal precedents." When Michael told Elizabeth about his decision, she hugged him emotionally. "I was waiting for you to reach that conclusion." "Really?" "Michael, you already treat Nathan like a son," Elizabeth observed. "And Emily like a brother. It's just making official what's already in the heart." Sarah was shocked when she learned of the proposal. "But you already do so much." "Sarah, it's not charity," Michael explained. "Nathan has become part of our family. We want to protect him legally." "And me?" Sarah asked uncertainly. "You'll continue to be his mother," Elizabeth assured. "But now with all the necessary legal and financial support." Emily jumped for joy when she found out. "Now Nathan is going to be my real brother," she ran to tell him. Nathan was confused initially, but when Emily explained that he would stay with them forever, a smile lit up his face. "Forever?" he asked, testing the new word he had learned. "Forever," Emily confirmed. "We're family now." Nathan hugged Emily so tightly he almost knocked her over, then ran to hug Michael and Elizabeth. His words were still limited, but his gratitude was evident. The legal process intensified in the following weeks. Brandon, through his lawyer, argued that the adoption decision was a maneuver to prevent him from exercising his paternal rights. Dr. Robert Sullivan, Brandon's lawyer, was known for being aggressive in family cases. My client has constitutional rights regarding his son. This adoption attempt is a clear violation of those rights, Dr. David countered coldly. Rights your client voluntarily abandoned for 3 years. We have documented proof of the abandonment and the discriminatory statements about the child's condition. The first hearing was scheduled for a month later. Michael hired a company to document Nathan's daily life, showing his routine, progress in therapy, and integration with the family. During this period, Nathan continued to improve impressively. His communication got better every day, and he had learned to express basic feelings through simple words. "Dad D. Michael," he said one day, moving Michael deeply. "Nathan, you don't have to call me Dad if you don't want to," Michael said gently. Nathan shook his head and pointed to his heart. "Dad die here," he explained with gestures that Michael was his dad in his heart. Emily watched the interaction with joy. "Now I have a real brother," she declared to anyone who would listen. At school, Nathan's situation became a positive case study. Teacher Rebecca documented his social and academic progress to use as testimony. "Nathan has gone from a withdrawn child to a participatory and happy boy," she wrote in the report. "Family stability has clearly benefited his development." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. 2 weeks before the hearing, an unexpected event completely changed the course of the situation. Nathan was in speech therapy when he managed to pronounce a full sentence for the first time. "I love my family," he said clearly, surprising Dr. Jennifer. "Nathan," the therapist was moved, "you did it." When Sarah arrived to pick up her son, Dr. Jennifer was beaming. "Sarah, Nathan had an extraordinary breakthrough today." "What happened?" Sarah asked anxiously. "Nathan, tell your mother what you managed to do," Dr. Jennifer encouraged. Nathan looked at his mother with pride. "I love my family," he repeated perfectly. Sarah cried with joy and hugged her son. "My love, you did it. Mommy is so proud." When they got home, Nathan ran to show his progress to Emily and Michael. "I love my family," he declared to everyone. Emily applauded enthusiastically. "Nathan, you talk just like me now." Michael filmed the moment with his phone, knowing it would be important evidence for the legal process. "Dr. David, you need to see this," he immediately called the lawyer. Dr. David was excited by the news. "Michael, this is perfect. It shows that a stable family environment is directly linked to the child's development." However, the opposing side was also preparing. Dr. Sullivan had hired a psychologist to evaluate Brandon and attest to his reformed paternal fitness. "My client has undergone significant personal transformation," Dr. Sullivan argued. "He is prepared to take on responsibilities he couldn't in the past." Dr. David discreetly investigated Brandon's recent history and discovered troubling information. "Michael, he's been unemployed for 6 months and has considerable debts. The financial motivation is obvious." "Can we use that?" Michael asked. "Of course. We'll question how he plans to support a special needs child without his own resources," Dr. David planned. On the eve of the hearing, the Carter family gathered for dinner. Nathan, using his new speech skills, told them about his day at school. "Teacher said I am smart," he shared proudly. "You are very smart indeed," Elizabeth confirmed. "And tomorrow, we will show that to the judge." Nathan looked confused. "Judge?" Emily explained simply. "He's a man who will decide if you stay with us forever." "I want to stay," Nathan said clearly. "This is my home." Michael stood up and hugged Nathan. "We will do everything we can to make that happen." Sarah was nervous but tried not to show it. "Nathan, no matter what happens, Mommy will always love you." "Mommy stays too," Nathan asked worriedly. "Of course, my love," Sarah assured him. "We will all stay together." On the morning of the hearing, everyone dressed formally. Nathan wore a little suit that Elizabeth had bought especially for the occasion. "You look handsome, little brother," Emily said, fixing his tie. "Emily pretty too," Nathan replied, making his sister smile. In the courtroom, the tension was palpable. Brandon was present with his lawyer, dressed in a borrowed suit and trying to project an image of respectability. When he saw Nathan, Brandon waved, but the boy hid behind Michael. The reaction did not go unnoticed by Judge Richard Bennett, experienced in family cases. Dr. David presented the case meticulously. "Your Honor, this is not just a custody case, but one of the comprehensive protection of a child who has found stability and development after years of abandonment." He showed the videos of Nathan's progress, the medical reports, and the statements from the school. The child is not only healthy, but thriving in an environment that offers unconditional love and adequate resources, Dr. Sullivan countered. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges past mistakes but has a right to a second chance at fatherhood. The abandonment was not definitive, but circumstantial." "Mr. Brandon," the judge addressed the petitioner directly, "can you explain the circumstances that led to the abandonment of your son?" Brandon hesitated. "I was young, I wasn't prepared to handle his special needs. But I've changed. I'm capable now." "What conditions?" the judge asked directly. "I'm looking for a job. I have family support," Brandon stammered. Dr. David seized the moment. "Your Honor, the petitioner has been unemployed for 6 months and has debts totaling $20,000. How does he intend to support a child with special needs?" The question left Brandon speechless. "It's temporary. I will get back on my feet." The judge then requested to speak with Nathan privately. "Nathan, can you come here with me?" Nathan looked nervously at Michael, who encouraged him. "Go ahead, son, tell the truth." In the private chamber, the judge knelt down to be at Nathan's eye level. "Nathan, do you know who I am?" "You are the judge," Nathan answered clearly. "That's right. And do you know that man out there?" The judge pointed toward the courtroom. Nathan shook his head. "I don't know him." "He says he is your father. What do you think about that?" Nathan thought for a moment. "Daddy Michael is my father. Good daddy takes care of me." "And your mommy, Sarah?" "Mommy best in the world," Nathan smiled. "She takes care, she loves Nathan." "Nathan, are you happy where you live now?" "Very happy." Nathan nodded enthusiastically. "I have sister Emily, mommy Sarah, daddy Michael, mommy Elizabeth. Big family." The judge was moved by the child's sincerity. "Nathan, do you want to keep living there?" "I want to stay forever," Nathan said with conviction. "It's my home." When they returned to the courtroom, the judge had made his decision. After careful analysis of all elements presented, considering the child's best interest, everyone held their breath. "I grant the petition to terminate the parental rights of the biological father and approve the adoption petitioned by the Carter family," the judge declared. "The child demonstrates solid emotional bonds and positive development in the current environment." Sarah broke down in tears of relief. Michael hugged Nathan, who didn't fully understand what had happened but sensed the general joy. "Did we win?" Nathan asked. "We won, son," Michael confirmed. "You're going to stay with us forever," Emily shouted with joy. "Now you are really my brother." Brandon left the courtroom visibly upset, but Dr. David had obtained a restraining order preventing him from approaching the family. On the way back home, Nathan kept repeating, "Forever, forever," as if he wanted to etch the words in his memory. The celebration at home was emotional. Elizabeth prepared Nathan's favorite dish, and Emily organized a surprise party with drawings and balloons. "Nathan, now you have 2 birth certificates," Emily explained, showing the documents. "An old one and a new one, where you are an official brother." Nathan held the papers carefully as if they were treasures. "Important documents," he said, using a new word he had learned. Dr. David visited the family a week later to finalize the last legal details. "Everything is settled. Nathan is now officially Nathan Carter Johnson. We kept the biological mother's surname out of respect for the original bonds. Sarah had chosen to maintain her role as the primary mother, but now, with all the legal protection of a structured family, "I don't know how to thank you," she said to Michael and Elizabeth. "You don't need to thank us for letting us be part of your family," Elizabeth replied. "We are the grateful ones." Nathan, overhearing the conversation, approached everyone. "Big family now," he said happily. "Nathan has many people who love." 3 months after the court decision, Nathan had progressed tremendously in his speech. He actively participated in family conversations and had become popular at school. During a school presentation about families, Nathan went on stage to talk about his. "My family is special," he began, with only a few errors in pronunciation. "There's Mommy Sarah, who always took care of me, Daddy Michael, and Mommy Elizabeth, who adopted me, and Sister Emily, who is my best friend." The audience was moved by the boy's sincerity. "Before I couldn't speak well, but my family helped me. Now I speak and everyone understands." Emily was in the front row, applauding proudly. "Family isn't just who you're born with," Nathan continued, repeating something he had heard Michael say. "It's who loves and cares for you, always." Michael and Elizabeth were emotional in the audience. Sarah cried discreetly with pride. "That's why I love my big family," Nathan concluded, "and I will love them forever." The entire auditorium rose in applause. Teacher Rebecca was radiant with the progress of her special student. After the presentation, several families approached Michael and Elizabeth to praise their attitude. "You are an example," said Mrs. Lisa Anderson. "You show that love has no barriers." Dr. Anderson, who had become an important business partner, was also present. "Carter, your family constantly inspires me. That's why our partnership works." That night, during dinner at home, Nathan made an announcement. "I want to say something important," he said, getting everyone's attention. "What is it, sweetie?" Sarah asked. "I remember when I was little and couldn't speak," Nathan began. "I was sad because no one understood me." Everyone listened in silence. "But then Emily came to talk to me at the party. She didn't care that I was different," Nathan continued. "And you all accepted me into the family." Nathan looked at each person around the table. "Now I speak. I have friends at school, and I know I am loved. Thank you for not giving up on me." Michael discreetly wiped away a tear. "Nathan, we would never give up on you. You taught us so much about true love." "It's true," Elizabeth agreed. "You and Sarah made us better people." Emily stood up and hugged her brother. "Nathan, you are the best thing that ever happened to our family." Sarah was too emotional to speak. She just hugged her son tightly. 1 year after the hearing, the Carter-Johnson family had established itself as an example of inclusion in the community. Michael had created a program at his company to hire mothers of special children, offering flexible hours and support for treatments. Nathan, now with almost fully developed language, had become a little ambassador for inclusion. He visited other schools to tell his story and encourage children with similar difficulties. "Difference is not a problem," he would tell the children. "The problem is when people don't want to be friends because of the difference." Emily always accompanied him on these visits, proud of the brother she had found at that party over a year ago. Dr. Jennifer, the speech therapist, used Nathan's case as an example of how the family environment influences the development of special children. "Unconditional love is the best medicine," she would often say. During one of these talks, a mother approached Sarah. "My daughter has cerebral palsy. How did you find the strength not to give up?" "I never thought about giving up," Sarah answered honestly. "But finding a family that welcomed us made all the difference. Nathan didn't just need love. He needed a community that believed in him." Michael had become a volunteer lawyer for special adoption causes, helping other families go through similar processes. "The experience with Nathan showed me that family is built with love, not just blood," he explained to other parents. Elizabeth had founded an NGO that connected families willing to help special children with mothers who needed support. "Every child deserves the chance to develop their potential," was the organization's motto. 2 years after the adoption, Nathan won a school award for his essay on overcoming challenges. He had written about how he went from a silent child to a boy who loved to speak. At first, words would get stuck in my head. He read his essay to the class. But my family taught me that everyone has an important voice. You just need to find a way to use it. The essay was selected for a state contest, and Nathan won first place in the children's category. The award ceremony took place in New York, and the whole family went to honor him. Nathan Carter Johnson, the announcer called. First place in the personal overcoming category for the essay Finding My Voice. Nathan confidently walked up to the stage, something unthinkable 2 years prior. I want to dedicate this award to my family, who taught me that being different is being special, he said into the microphone without any hesitation in his speech. The audience was moved by his words. In the front row, Emily applauded enthusiastically. Michael and Elizabeth held on to each other to keep from crying, and Sarah was beaming with pride. After the ceremony, journalists wanted to interview the family. "How would you define this journey?" a reporter asked. "Transformative," Michael answered. "Nathan taught us that limitations exist only in our minds." "And you, Nathan, what do you want to be when you grow up?" the reporter asked. Nathan thought for a moment. "I want to help other kids like me find their voices," he answered seriously. "And I want everyone to know that family is whoever cares for you with love." The story aired on local television, inspiring other families to consider special needs adoption. Michael received dozens of calls from people interested in learning about the company's program. 3 years after that gala where it all began, the family decided to organize a special celebration. They invited all the people who had been part of the journey: Dr. David, Dr. Jennifer, teacher Rebecca, Dr. Anderson, and many others. "This party is to celebrate our family and everyone who supported us," Elizabeth announced to the guests. Nathan, now an 11-year-old boy, fully integrated and communicative, stood up to give a speech. 3 years ago, I was a boy nobody would see at a party. Today, I'm a boy who has a huge family. He looked at everyone present. "I want to thank every person here who believed in me when I couldn't even speak properly." Emily, now 10 years old, joined her brother. "Nathan taught me that true friendship doesn't see flaws. It only sees a person's heart." Sarah stood up, emotional. "My son taught me that a mother never gives up. But all of you taught me that we don't have to fight alone." Michael was the last to speak. "Nathan changed our definition of family. Emily showed us that children see the world more clearly than adults. And Sarah taught us the meaning of unconditional love." The party continued with much joy. Nathan circulated among the guests, telling stories and making everyone laugh. His outgoing personality was the complete opposite of the withdrawn boy from 3 years ago. Dr. Jennifer watched Nathan with professional satisfaction. "It's impressive how he has developed. Today his speech is perfect, and his confidence is inspiring." "The family environment made all the difference," Dr. David commented. "This case changed my perception of special needs adoption." During the party, an unexpected surprise arrived. Dr. Anderson appeared with his granddaughter Olivia, who had Down syndrome and was the same age as Nathan. Olivia wanted to meet the famous boy who won the contest, Dr. Anderson explained. Nathan introduced himself to Olivia kindly. "Hi, Olivia. Do you want to play with me and Emily?" Olivia nodded shyly, and soon the three were playing together. Nathan's natural ease in interacting with other special needs children deeply touched Dr. Anderson. "Nathan, you have a special gift," Dr. Anderson said. "He knows how to make everyone feel included." "I learned that from my sister Emily," Nathan replied. "She taught me that everyone deserves friends." At the end of the evening, when the last guests had left, the family gathered in the living room. Nathan was tired but happy. "It was a beautiful party," he said, resting his head on Michael's shoulder. "It really was," Elizabeth agreed, "and it shows how our family has grown." Emily snuggled on the other side of Michael. "Dad, do you remember when I insisted on playing with Nathan at that party?" "I remember perfectly," Michael smiled. "It was one of the most important decisions of your life." "And of ours too," Sarah added. "Emily saved our lives that day." Nathan looked at his sister affectionately. "Emily, thank you for not caring that I was different." "Nathan, you were never different to me," Emily replied. You were always perfect, just the way you are. The conversation was interrupted by Elizabeth, who was carrying a wrapped box. We have a surprise for you two. What is it? The children asked in unison. Open it and see, Michael encouraged. Inside the box were two identical bracelets with an engraved plate. Siblings by choice, friends forever. The Carter-Johnson family. Nathan and Emily were moved by the gift. We'll wear them always, they promised. These bracelets represent what you are. Siblings who chose each other and a friendship that changed an entire family, Elizabeth explained. Michael watched his family and felt a deep gratitude. You know I was a man very focused only on work and money? We know, Emily and Nathan replied. You taught me that true success is having a united and happy family, Michael confessed. I am much richer today than I was 3 years ago. Sarah, who was watching the conversation, approached. Can I say something? Of course, Sarah, Elizabeth encouraged. When Brandon abandoned us, I thought Nathan and I would always be alone in the world, Sarah began. I never imagined we would find not only a new family, but also the chance for Nathan to develop all his potential. She looked at each family member. You didn't just save us, you completed us. Nathan stood up and hugged his mother. Mommy, you are the best mother in the world. Even when it was hard, you never gave up on me. And I never will, my love, Sarah replied, hugging her son. Elizabeth joined the hug, followed by Michael and Emily. For a few minutes they hugged in silence, absorbing the moment of gratitude and love. Did you know you made me a better person? Emily said suddenly. How so, Princess? Michael asked. Before Nathan, I only thought about myself, Emily explained. Now, I think about how to help others too. At school, I always look for children who are alone to befriend. Nathan smiled proudly at his sister. Emily teaches everyone at school to be nice to those who are different. It's true, Emily confirmed. And you know what else? Other kids started doing the same. Now our school is more inclusive. Michael and Elizabeth exchanged proud looks. Their children were not only growing up well, but also positively influencing the world around them. Nathan, Elizabeth called, do you remember when you first arrived here and could barely speak? Nathan nodded. Yes, I remember. It was very hard. I got frustrated because I had so many things to say, but the words wouldn't come out. And now you speak better than many people, Michael observed. You even give talks. It's because you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, Nathan replied with maturity. That gave me the strength to always try. Sarah was moved hearing her son's reflection. Nathan, you were always strong. You just needed people who could see your strength. And you found them, Emily added. Now you inspire other kids too. The conversation was interrupted by the phone. Michael answered and returned surprised. It was Dr. Jennifer. Nathan has been selected to receive a special honor at the speech therapy conference. What honor? Nathan asked curiously. You will be the therapeutic success story of the year, Michael explained. They will tell your story to professionals from across the United States. Nathan was impressed. So I'll help other therapists understand how to help kids like I was? Exactly, Elizabeth confirmed. Your journey will inspire better treatments. That's amazing, Emily jumped. My brother is going to be famous. I'm already famous, Nathan laughed. Famous for having the best family in the world. The whole family laughed at Nathan's witty reply. It was astonishing how a child who could barely communicate had become so articulate and charismatic. Nathan, Michael said, do you want to accept this honor? Yes, I do, Nathan replied enthusiastically, but only if you all come with me. Of course we'll be there, Elizabeth assured him. We will always be with you. Forever, Emily added, touching her new bracelet. Forever, Nathan repeated, touching his bracelet too. Sarah watched the interaction with a grateful smile. 3 years ago, she was a desperate single mother with no resources and afraid of the future. Now she was part of a family that supported her unconditionally. Michael, Elizabeth, she said, can I ask a personal question? Of course, they answered together. Have you ever regretted the decision to take us in? Sarah asked, feeling vulnerable. Michael and Elizabeth exchanged glances and smiled. Sarah, Michael replied, Our only regret is not having done it sooner." "It's true," Elizabeth agreed. "You have given us far more than you received." Nathan heard the conversation and went over to Sarah. "Mommy, they really love us. You don't need to be afraid." "I know, sweetheart," Sarah hugged her son. "Sometimes it's hard to believe so many good things have happened to us." "It happened because you deserve it," Emily declared, "and because we became a real family." Michael looked at his watch and realized it was late. "How about we get ready for bed? Tomorrow we have the picnic in the park." "That's right," Nathan remembered. "We're meeting Olivia and other friends." "Nathan," Elizabeth said, "are you excited to introduce Olivia to your school class?" "Of course," Nathan replied. "She's super smart. She'll love meeting everyone." Emily smiled proudly of her brother. "Nathan is the best at making friends. Everyone likes him at school." As they got ready for bed, Nathan stopped at the bedroom door and looked back. "Can I say something?" "What is it, son?" Michael asked. "Today was the best day of my life," Nathan declared. "Having our whole family together, our friends, and knowing I'm going to help other kids, it's perfect." Elizabeth was moved by her adoptive son's words. "Nathan, you make all our days better, too." "It's true," Sarah agreed. "You taught me that dreams can come true." Nathan hugged each family member before going to sleep. "Good night, giant family," he said cheerfully. "Good night, Nathan," everyone replied in unison. After the children went to bed, Michael, Elizabeth, and Sarah stayed talking on the porch. "Do you realize how Nathan has changed our perspective on everything?" Elizabeth observed. "Completely," Michael agreed. "I learned that success isn't about having more, it's about being more. And our family has made me a better version of myself." "For me," Sarah added, "you showed me that I deserve love and respect. For a long time, I thought I was less because I was a single mother of a special child." "Sarah," Elizabeth touched her hand, "you are one of the strongest and most admirable people we know. Nathan is proof of your dedication and love." "And now he has everything he deserves," Michael added. "A warrior mother, a loving family, and a bright future." They fell silent for a few minutes, contemplating the stars. "You know what I'm most proud of?" Sarah said. "What?" they asked together. "Nathan not only developed well, he kept his kindness and sensitivity," Sarah explained. "Many children who go through hardships become bitter. Nathan became more empathetic." "It's true," Elizabeth agreed. "He has an incredible ability to connect with other people." "He inherited that from his mother," Michael observed. "Sarah, your way of loving unconditionally taught him that." Sarah was moved by the compliment. "I learned from you too. Seeing how you loved Nathan from the start showed me different ways to show affection." "We learned from each other," Elizabeth concluded. "That's what real families do." In the bedroom, Nathan and Emily were still whispering. "Emily," Nathan whispered, "do you think I'll be able to help many children?" "I'm sure," Emily answered. "You have a special gift for making people feel important." "I learned that from you," Nathan confessed. "When you came to talk to me at that party, I felt important for the first time." "Nathan, you were always important," Emily insisted. "You just needed someone to show you." "Yeah," Nathan agreed. "And now I can show other kids too." They fell silent, thinking about the future. "Nathan," Emily said, "promise me we'll always be best friends." "I promise," Nathan answered seriously. "You are my sister of the heart forever." "Forever," Emily repeated, touching the bracelet. The next morning, the family prepared for the picnic in the park. Nathan was especially excited to meet Olivia and introduce her to his school friends. "Nathan," Elizabeth asked as they prepared the basket, "aren't you nervous about introducing Olivia?" "Why would I be?" Nathan answered, genuinely confused. "She's cool, smart, and funny." Michael smiled, hearing his son's answer. "Not everyone thinks that way, son." "Then those people are silly," Nathan declared with simplicity. "Who wouldn't want to be friends with someone cool because of how she was born?" Emily applauded her brother's answer. "That's why Nathan is my hero." "I'm not a hero," Nathan protested. "I'm just normal. It's the people who are weird." Sarah watched the conversation with pride. Her son had developed not only his speech, but also a strong and upright personality. At the park, Nathan ran to greet Olivia, who had arrived with Dr. Anderson and his family. "Olivia!" He waved excitedly. "Come meet my friends." Olivia smiled and followed Nathan to where other children from school were. "Guys," Nathan announced, "this is my friend Olivia. She's super smart and draws really well." The children welcomed Olivia naturally, following Nathan's example. "Hi, Olivia," they greeted cheerfully. Dr. Anderson watched the scene, moved. "Michael," he said, "Nathan has an incredible ability to positively influence other children." "He inherited that from Emily," Michael replied. "She taught me that children see people, not limitations." "It's true," Dr. Anderson agreed. "Olivia is radiant. She rarely feels so accepted." During the picnic, Nathan organized games that everyone could participate in. His natural inclusion meant no child felt left out. "Nathan is a natural leader," observed teacher Rebecca, who had been invited. "He has the ability to bring people together." Elizabeth watched her son with maternal pride. "It's impressive how he's blossomed. 3 years ago, he could barely communicate." "Love works miracles," Sarah commented, "especially when it comes from an entire family." During the afternoon, Nathan approached Michael. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Of course, son." "Why are some people afraid of those who are different?" Nathan asked innocently. Michael thought of the appropriate response. Sometimes people are afraid of what they don't know. But when they truly get to know it, they realize there's no reason to be afraid. "Like you and Mommy Elizabeth did with me?" Nathan asked. "Exactly," Michael confirmed. "At first, we had concerns because we didn't understand your situation. But Emily taught us that what matters is the heart." Nathan nodded in understanding. "So my job is to help people get to know kids like me and Olivia." "If you want to," Michael said. "But remember, you are not obligated to educate anyone. You can simply be yourself." "I like helping," Nathan declared. "It makes me feel useful." Michael hugged his son. "Nathan, you are much more than useful. You are essential to our family and to many other people." At the end of the day, as they were heading home, Olivia said goodbye to Nathan with a hug. "Thank you for introducing me to your friends," she said. "You're welcome," Nathan replied. "Now you have more friends too." Dr. Anderson approached Sarah. "Sarah, I want you to know that Nathan has changed my granddaughter's perception of herself. She's been more confident since she met him." "Nathan has that gift," Sarah replied proudly. "He makes people feel special." "He inherited that from his mother," Dr. Anderson observed. "You have that ability too." During dinner at home, Nathan recounted the day in detail. "Olivia drew an amazing castle," he reported excitedly, "and Ryan said he wants to learn sign language to talk better with his sister." "That's so cool," Emily was thrilled. "You're inspiring everyone." "Not just me," Nathan corrected. "Our whole family inspires. You taught me to love without prejudice." Elizabeth was moved by her son's maturity. "Nathan, do you understand that this is special?" "I do," Nathan answered seriously. "That's why I want to share it with other families. Everyone deserves to feel this love." Michael watched his son and realized Nathan had found his life's mission. "Son, do you have plans for the future?" "I do," Nathan replied enthusiastically. "I want to study to help kids like me, maybe psychology or speech therapy." "What a wonderful idea," Sarah supported. "You understand what these children go through like no one else. And you can show them they have a bright future ahead," Emily added. Nathan smiled at the plans. "I'll tell my story to show that differences don't stop dreams." "They certainly don't," Elizabeth confirmed. "You are living proof of that." A few months later, Nathan received the honor at the speech therapy conference. His presentation moved hundreds of professionals in the field. "My name is Nathan Carter Johnson," he began with total confidence. 4 years ago, I could barely pronounce my own name." The audience listened in respectful silence. "Today, I'm here speaking to you because a family believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." Nathan told his complete journey, from the withdrawn boy at the party to the young speaker. "I learned that limitations exist only if we allow them to." After the presentation, professionals approached to congratulate him. "Nathan," said Dr. "Jennifer, you managed in 15 minutes to explain what I've been trying to teach for years." "What's that?" Nathan asked curiously. That love and acceptance are the best treatments, Dr. Jennifer explained. A therapist from Boston approached. Nathan, can I tell you about a patient of mine who is going through difficulties similar to yours? Of course, Nathan perked up. Can I help? The conversation lasted an hour, with Nathan offering valuable insights on how to motivate children in therapy. His unique perspective impressed the professionals present. This young man has a bright future, commented Dr. Thomas Johnson, the association's president. He should consider a career in the field. Michael, who had been watching everything proudly, stepped forward. Nathan already has plans in that direction. Excellent, Dr. Thomas smiled. We would be honored to support his future education. On the flight back to New York, Nathan was beaming. Dad, do you think I managed to help? You did much more than help, Michael assured. You inspired experienced professionals to rethink their methods. It's true, Elizabeth agreed. Your story will influence treatments across the entire United States. Nathan looked out the airplane window, thoughtful. Emily, he called to his sister, remember when you told me that everyone has something special? I remember, Emily replied. I think I found my something special, Nathan declared. It's helping other people find theirs. Sarah hugged her son, moved. My love, you found much more than that. You found your life's purpose. And it all started because a 7-year-old girl didn't mind that I was in a wheelchair. Nathan looked affectionately at Emily. And because a family was willing to love unconditionally, Emily returned. Michael watched his family and felt a profound gratitude. That decision not to fire Sarah had changed all their lives for the better. Back home, Nathan found a surprise. Letters from children in various cities who had watched his talk online. Read this one, Emily showed a letter. Hi Nathan, my name is Joshua and I'm 8 years old. I also have trouble speaking. My mum showed me your video and now I know I can get better. Thank you for giving me hope. Your friend Joshua. Nathan was moved reading the letter. Can I write back to him? Of course, Elizabeth encouraged. What if we created a way for you to talk with other children regularly? How do you mean? Nathan asked, interested. A project where you can keep inspiring children, Michael explained, maybe through videos or virtual meetings. Nathan got excited about the idea. I could create a group where kids like me can talk and help each other. Perfect, Emily approved. I'll help too. Sarah watched the conversation with pride. Her son had not only overcome his difficulties, but was turning the experience into a tool to help others. Nathan, she said, you've become everything I dreamed you could be and so much more. Nathan hugged his mother. I made it because you never gave up on me, even when it was hard. And because you found a family that saw your potential, Elizabeth added. We found a family that saw us as whole people, Sarah corrected. That made all the difference. Michael was moved hearing the gratitude, but he knew they had received much more than they had given. Sarah, Nathan, you taught us the true meaning of family. And now we're going to teach that to other families too, Nathan declared determinedly. Emily jumped excitedly. Our family is going to help so many other families. It's true, Elizabeth agreed. And it all started with the pure heart of a child who saw a friend where others saw differences. Nathan looked at each member of his family. You know what I learned? What? They asked together. That miracles do exist, Nathan said with conviction. But they don't come from the sky. They come from the love that special people carry in their hearts. The family embraced, knowing they had created something much bigger than a successful adoption. They had created an example of how true love can transform lives and inspire others to do the same. 5 years after that gala where it all began, Nathan had become a 13-year-old young man who was articulate, confident, and dedicated to helping other children. His mission had become reality. He facilitated support groups for children with communication difficulties and their families. Emily, now 12, had become his constant partner in this work. Together, they had created a support network connecting hundreds of families across the country. Michael and Elizabeth transformed their home into a reference center for families interested in special needs adoption. Sarah became the project coordinator, using her experience to guide other mothers. On a Saturday afternoon, as they prepared for another family meeting, Nathan stopped and looked around. Do you realize what happened here? What do you mean? Elizabeth asked. A party that was supposed to be about business turned into the start of our life's mission, Nathan reflected, and all because Emily had the courage to reach out. Emily smiled. And because you had the courage to accept the outstretched hand. And because Daddy and Mommy had the courage to open their hearts, Nathan added, looking at Michael and Elizabeth. And because Mommy Sarah had the courage to never give up, Emily added, looking at Sarah. Michael observed his family and realized they had built something extraordinary, a legacy of love that multiplied through every life they touched. Nathan, he said, do you remember that drawing you made on the first day, 2 figures holding hands? I remember, Nathan smiled. Now we have hundreds of people holding hands, Michael observed. Your drawing became reality. Nathan looked out the window and saw several families arriving for the meeting. Adoptive parents, special needs children, siblings, grandparents, all united by the common purpose of creating a more inclusive world. You know what I'm most proud of? Nathan asked. What? Everyone wanted to know. That our story doesn't end with a happy ending, Nathan said thoughtfully. Our story ends with new beginnings for other families. Sarah hugged her son, moved by his maturity. Nathan, you've become the wisest man I know. I learned from the best teachers, Nathan returned the hug. A family that taught me love has no limits. Emily joined the hug. And that true friendship can change the world. Elizabeth and Michael completed the family hug, knowing they had created not just a family, but a force for social transformation. When the first families entered the house, Nathan addressed them with the same naturalness Emily had shown years before. Welcome to our home, and he said, smiling. Here, everyone is family. And so that gala that almost ended in embarrassment became the starting point of a journey that changed dozens of lives, proved that prejudices can be overcome by love, and showed that sometimes children see solutions that adults cannot see. Nathan, Emily, Michael, Elizabeth, and Sarah didn't just form a family. They created a model of how unconditional love can overcome any barrier and transform differences into strengths that unite, inspire, and multiply kindness in the world. End of story. Now tell us, what did you think of this special family's journey? Have you experienced or know of similar situations of inclusion and overcoming? Leave your reflections in the comments on how true love can transform lives. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more stories that show the power of family, friendship, and determination. Your participation helps us continue spreading messages of hope and unity.